What is going on? It's your boy Victor here, back with another video. For those of you that watched my videos before, we're gonna switch it up just a little bit. It's kind of what I wanted to do for a while, so let's start right now. It's been almost 2 years since I started my clothing brand, and I wanted to make this video to make it easier for people that are starting their clothing brand or have already started and are just looking for some tips and tricks along the way. I want to share some things that I went through when I started and some things that I wish people told me before I started or during I was doing it. So here are my 5 steps to starting a clothing brand. Number 1 is unique selling point. The number 1 thing you need to do before you start selling anything is figure out a unique selling point. Once again, before you do anything or invest any time at all, figure out your unique selling point. If we're gonna be real, everyone these days is starting a clothing brand. The question you gotta ask yourself is, how is mine gonna be different and why is anyone gonna care? And there could be many reasons why people would care. Maybe you're targeting a specific group that doesn't have a clothing brand that fits their lifestyle. Maybe you're targeting nurses. Maybe you're targeting carpenters. Maybe you're targeting people that like bird watching. Either way, do your research and figure out what makes you different than the other guys. For me, that was people who are interested in wildlife conservation. I've seen clothing brands sell to like a specific animal. Let's say they donate to turtles or they donate to the ocean conservation or ocean cleanup as a whole. But I wanted to dive a little bit deeper. I always see people wearing clothing with wildlife designs on it. So I thought, why not combine that love that people have for wearing wildlife designs with wildlife conservation? So what I thought of was that I'll just make those wildlife designs that people are wearing already, but for every purchase of the clothing item with the animal on it, 20% of the profits would go to the animal or the species on the design. Now that you've figured out your unique selling point out, it's time to move on to step number 2, the investment. It's impossible to start a clothing brand without any sort of investment unless you're using like a print-on-demand service, but even then you're gonna need a little bit of investment. We're not really here to talk about print-on-demand. If it is something that you're interested in though, Google print-on-demand services. Basically how it works, once you get an order on your website, it goes straight to them. They print the shirt that you got ordered or sweater or whatever. They print it on the spot and then ship it out directly to your customer, so you never really have to deal with inventory. Just be aware that they take a large cut of your profits, and also there isn't much customization you can do with your clothing. To buy your own inventory, you need a little more investment, and if you don't have any money saved up, it's totally okay. You don't need much to start. I personally started with $2,000 Canadian. That included the clothing, like the inventory, the print, and my website. If you have the money saved up, then you're good to go. If not, $2,000 may seem like a lot, but there's nothing a month of like part-time work at your grocery store or any minimum wage jobs can't fix. I got my start reffing ice hockey part-time. It was the highest paying job I can get, and it was at nighttime. I was in school at the time, so during the day I would be doing schoolwork or researching the clothing brand, and then at nighttime I would work. And I wanted to make sure that when I did have the money, I was ready to go right away. Moving on to step number 3 right now is finding the actual clothing you're gonna sell. Like I said, I did this while I was working. I was just researching clothing manufacturers that I'd be interested, and I was using my first paychecks to buy the clothing samples and then test them out. I would highly advise not just blindly buying all the clothing, the full batch, without testing the actual quality of the clothing. I always make myself a sample that I would wear for a while, that I would test out, wash, see if it fades, see if it shrinks, see how the quality is, before going forward and buying more. I've had this sweater for a while now, maybe a few months, and so I just bought it, I wore it, I printed on it, I tested the quality. Now I can be confident that they're quality, and I just bought a whole batch that I'm getting ready for the winter. Just to make your life easier, I will put a link to a few websites in the description where you can order samples. These are the websites I use to order my samples. It's a lot cheaper to go and buy the actual clothing from the manufacturers, and also it's tax-free because it's for resale. But for it to be tax-free, if you're in the US, you need to get a resale number. So if you're in the US, look up resale number, and if you're in Canada, you're gonna have to get a business number. If you're in Canada, look up business number. That'll be your homework. Look up those 2 things, or I guess 1 thing if you're only in 1 country. Not gonna lie, this step of testing out clothing and stuff, it takes a while, and there's a lot of trial and error, and it can be really annoying and really tedious. You have to order the samples, wait for them to ship to your house, try them on, wash them a few times, wear it to see the quality, and then if you're ready, order the actual batch. But don't worry, this is actually really worth it because you want to sell something that you're actually proud of. You don't want to sell something that's garbage. Some of the criteria that I look for when I'm looking for my clothing is that it's soft. I hate wearing rough clothing. That when I wash it, it doesn't shrink or fade. And it was made in humane working environments and with the environment kind of in mind. Moving on to number 4 is making your design. If you're artistic, then you can just draw the design. It'll be like second nature to you. Just put it on paper and you'll have the design that you want on your clothing. But if you're not artistic, like myself, you're gonna have to get someone else to make the design for you. There are tools and websites where you can find freelancers that can do that for you. I'll put the links in the description. There are sites like Fiverr or Upworks and many other ones. It really depends on what you're looking for and what kind of services they offer. So take a look through those websites and see what people are offering and what suits your needs the best. Another tool that helped me through the creative process is a t-shirt mockup generator. I really like the one by Custom Ink. I'll put the link in the description. All you do is drag and drop your designs. You can change the color of the design, you can change the color of the shirts, you can change it from shirts to sweaters, to whatever you want. And it really gives you a general idea of what the item will look like in the end. Once you design the mock-up, you can send it to your local print shop. They can print it for you, or if your manufacturer does printing, it's probably cheaper to go through them. And lastly, step number 5 is finding an avenue to sell your clothing. Now that you have all your clothing picked out, you have the design, it's all printed on, it's time to actually sell your clothing. The most popular way, and probably the easiest way today, is to sell directly to the consumer through an e-commerce store. There are many options to choose from, but I think the most popular and most budget-friendly ones are Shopify and WooCommerce. But the best one really depends on your needs and your budget. Take a look at all the options before making your decision. I started with WooCommerce and currently use WooCommerce because it's more in my budget than Shopify is. Now that you know the basic steps and you know my process, it's time for you to go out and research your own clothing. If you have any questions about my experience, leave them in the comments below. I'll try my best to answer all of them. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like and also subscribe so you don't miss out on any new videos. Peace.